In the quiet town of Chippewa Valley, Michigan, a 14-year-old girl just delivered a speech that's sending shockwaves through her community. Amelia isn't backing down, and today we're taking you inside her brave fight against a school board she says is violating the Constitution. We'll reveal the explosive moment when she declared, "You're not kings, and we are not your servants," and why her stand matters for every American. It all began when Amelia stood before the Chippewa Valley School Board, a group of woke public servants who, instead of listening, were silencing voices. At one meeting, board president Mr. Pearl gavelled down a speaker, claiming there were limited First Amendment rights. But Amelia wasn't having it. She took the floor and made it clear this was a public forum. And in America, the First Amendment protects our right to criticize public officials without fear of punishment.
Mr. Pearl, at the last meeting, you gavelled down a speaker who was criticizing a board member. You claimed we have, quote, limited First Amendment rights by law, unquote. That's not exactly correct, so let me educate you. According to the National School Board Association, these meetings are a designated public forum, meaning the public has the right to speak regarding matters within the jurisdiction of the school board. Additionally, the First Amendment protects the right to criticize public officials and their adult family members without fear of retribution or punishment. You cannot make any rules stating otherwise. If any of you can't accept public scrutiny, then resign. Now, on to you, Mr. Roberts. At the September meeting last year, you said in part, quote, the most important thing we want out of this community comment is that anyone who speaks to the board feels like they're listened to. It's very important, regardless if we disagree on things. I hope that person is allowed to just speak and say what they want, unquote. So, exactly what did you mean by that, Mr. Roberts, considering this board has repeatedly gavelled people down and even walked out while they addressed this board? You can't listen to a speaker if you're not in the room, and people can't speak freely if you're making unconstitutional rules.
In one of the previous meetings, she gave copies of U.S. constitutions to woke school board members to remind them of their responsibilities as public officials. As she spent several minutes handing copies of U.S. constitutions to them, they first even intended to take away her time and wanted to deduct from her 3-minute time.
I have not started yet. I reclaim my time. It is my First Amendment right. You reset that timer.
No.
Yes.
Reset her time. Reset her time.
Reset the time.
Gentlemen,
Reset the time. What's wrong with you people?
Reset the time. There's a young lady coming here.
Reset my time.
Sir, thank you.
Don't come at me. Everybody else says don't come at me. Don't come at me because you're out of order.
Reset her time.
Reset my time.
Be a gentleman.
All you gotta do is reset her
I think
time.
you should start.
Oh, look, courtesy.
Reset my time.
Well, you guys are digging
Or I will talk all the time.
a hole.
With strong objections from parents at the meeting, they finally gave her time for her speech. In this speech, she said,
Then, this board's lawyer, Mr. Collins, tried to set rules regarding the content of people's speeches, but also claimed the idea wasn't to censor people. Newsflash, Mr. Collins, your rules are the very definition of censorship. Apparently, this board is not familiar with the U.S. Constitution, so I've given each of you a copy. Please note the First Amendment on page 21, which clearly states there shall be no rules abridging freedom of speech. Additionally, the people have the right to air grievances to the government. So, to clarify this to you, board members, a Board of Education is the governing body of a school district, and therefore, we have the constitutional right to speak about whatever grievances we have. You can't limit the content or direct who we can or cannot talk about. If you don't want to be embarrassed or be in the spotlight, then resign from this board. If you don't want your family members to be a topic, then they should refrain from making statements on social media in regards to people who speak at these meetings. If you don't want people to refer to you as groomers and pedophiles, then follow state and federal laws and remove the sexually graphic books from your school libraries. Appeasing immorality by claiming acceptance and inclusion is not a valid argument. Claiming the book can be obtained online, no, it is my First Amendment right, and you have taken my time, so I reclaim that time back. Let me speak. I reclaim my time back. I am going to continue. Not a valid argument. Claiming that removing the contested books is banning them is not a valid argument. There are no valid arguments for violating laws or infringing on constitutional rights. A quote by Wendy Jade states, "An environment that is not safe to disagree in is not an environment focused on growth. It is an environment focused on control." Board members, keep in mind that come the next election, parents will have the control. You've been exposed.
Amen.
Free speech wasn't the only issue Amelia brought to light. Despite a superintendent, Mr. Roberts, earning almost $400,000 a year, nearly the salary of the President of the United States, the district's academic performance was poor.
Mr. Roberts, you get paid almost $400,000 a year to manage this district, but it's in shambles. Perhaps you're spending too much time on social media. Mr. Roberts also made this comment at the last meeting, quote, "We take great pride in being one of the best public school districts in Michigan," unquote. I'm not sure what you meant by that, considering one of the most reliable school data collection sites states Chippewa Valley School District ranks 210 out of 606 Michigan districts. It's very easy to look up information about schools. You should try it sometime. I realize you're very busy making videos of yourself to play at these board meetings and also posting on social media. Speaking of social media, let me inform you, last month the Supreme Court ruled public officials who post on their personal social media accounts about work-related topics are acting on behalf of the government. Therefore, they can be held liable for violating the First Amendment if they block their critics. So, Mr. Robert, you might want to make sure you haven't blocked anyone, especially people who attend these meetings. Maybe evaluate your ex, aka Twitter account. I'm quite perplexed as to why this board has to be repeatedly schooled by a kid. I gave you each a copy of the Constitution last year. You really should read it because you all took an oath to support it.
As if the academic failures weren't enough, Amelia also took a stand against the school district, allowing sexually explicit books into its libraries. Many parents were shocked that such material was available to students without parental oversight. Amelia's stand sparked a wider conversation about parental rights in education, transparency, and the moral direction of public schools. At a recent school board meeting, Amelia made a bold move by presenting a hurt feelings report, a satirical form she created to call out what she saw as dismissive behavior from board members. Her actions were a direct response to previous meetings where board members angrily walked out during her speeches, as their feelings might get hurt by her criticism toward them.
I'm back by popular demand. However, I'm not unfortunate at all. The unfortunate children are those of leftist parents who use their children's transgender identity as a badge of honor, who fight to keep sexually graphic books in school libraries so their children can read them, then be susceptible to being groomed or victims of sex crimes. They want drag queens in schools and even take their kids to pride parades where men dance naked, women expose their breasts, and everyone touts the virtues, or lack thereof.
She showed the woke board members the report, urging them to fill the report if they feel hurt. She also instructed them how to fill out the hurt feelings report.
At the end, you'll see that there's a place for your name, date your feelings were hurt, name a person who hurt your feelings, and which feelings were hurt. There's also a part to document your injury, such as which ear were the hurtful words spoken into. Is there permanent damage to your feelings? Did you require a tissue for your tears? And if the words resulted in a traumatic brain injury? Part 4 of this report is important for you to know. You can mark all the reasons you're filling the report. Some of the reasons are as follows. I am thin-skinned. My feelings are easily hurt. I didn't sign up for this. I was told that I'm not a hero. I was not offered a tissue. I want my mommy, and other options. Again, you can check all that apply to your hurt feelings.
In every battle for justice, there comes a point where one voice can spark change. Amelia is that voice for Chippewa Valley, and she's showing us that it doesn't matter how old you are. What matters is the truth you stand for. As Amelia reminds us, public servants are not kings. They work for us, the people. And if they refuse to be held accountable, then we, the people, must step forward, demand answers, and, if necessary, call for new leadership.
In closing, I want to remind this board, you are not kings, and we are not your servants.
Right.
You work for the people, not your political parties.
That's right.
Thank you.
Amelia's fight isn't just for Chippewa Valley. It's for every student, every parent, and every citizen who believes in the power of free speech and accountability. Subscribe to our channel to follow Amelia's journey and learn how you can make a difference in your community. Let's hold the system accountable, together.